Hello crafty friends, it's Laura here. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, today's video is going to be a card making paper piecing video. So I'm actually going to make a larger card today. This one is 4 inches by 9 1/4, and I'm working on a panel here using a stencil. I have a laminated sheet of cardstock in the background, just so I've got a wipe clean surface to work on, and I'm taping down my stencil in place. So I've sped this bit up, I'm not doing anything fancy, I'm just applying some ink. I'm actually using a brush to do this, but you can use whichever tool you prefer. And you can see that the stencil doesn't completely cover the background, but no problem, I'm going to go ahead and shift the stencil and just finish off that pattern to make sure I've got all of this background panel completely covered. I'm going for a mermaid design. So the stamp I'm using today is a mermaid stamp. So I wanted to use this stencil because it has a beautiful kind of wave feel to it. So it kind of gives that ocean look. And with the blues and the greens, I think it just works really nicely. So I'm just working my way through, making sure I cover everything with the ink. So I've got some nice smooth blends between those colours and some nice saturation. And I'll just go ahead and peel that off and then clean up my work surface. And you can see there's a little gap in the middle there where the two kind of stencil placements align, but my stamp is quite large, so it's going to cover the majority of that up. So here I've grabbed my Misty, the original size, and I've pulled out the black foam because I'm using a deeper stamp. This is a rubber stamp. And I'm going to go ahead and line that up and close the lid to pick up this piece. So I'm actually going to go ahead and ink this up and stamp it directly onto the panel, which is going to look a little bit silly at first because it's not really going to stand out too much, and I didn't do any kind of masking, so you couldn't exactly colour this in. But I like to do this whenever I'm doing this particular paper piecing technique. And there we go, I dropped my ink pad. Luckily I didn't destroy my project, I just dropped it on the lid of my stamping tool. And I like to do this type of stamping to help with the placement when I get to the paper piecing. And I'm actually going to use some Xyron products to help me with my paper piecing. These are really great products that allow you to turn something into a sticker, which means it's going to make it so simple to do those paper piecing bits. And I'm actually going to use 2 different products, and I'll show you each of those once I'm finished with the stamping. So I have these different coloured watercolour panels that I'm going to go ahead and stamp on, and I've pre-planned in my mind, which is unusual for me, exactly which of these colours I want to use. So I know I want the majority of the mermaid tail to be this purple colour, then I actually want the body to be this kind of greenish colour. I was feeling a greenish yellow mermaid. I felt like that was an appropriate skin colour. So I went ahead and stamped everything out and then just fussy cut using my scissors. I trimmed that out so you didn't have to watch me cutting for too long. I'm sure that wouldn't have been the most enjoyable thing. And I'm going to grab my Xyron Creator Sticker. This is the max size, and this is the cartridge that I have inside. This is a permanent adhesive, and it is so simple to use. So I'm going to feed the mermaid tail through the front here, and I'll actually turn this to the side so you can see what I'm doing. And you just want to crank this handle, and for this particular design of machine, it just rolls out on the release paper. You tear it off using the teeth that are on the opposite side, and it is good to go. You can just peel that up and it is a sticker. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the mermaid body. So you can fit some quite big pieces in here, and if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I love to use this type of adhesive on the back of vellum. I think it's a wonderful adhesive for using with vellum because it applies a thin, even coat all over the back of the vellum, so it's practically invisible. So I also have this smaller version here, and again I have a permanent adhesive in there. You can see which type of adhesive is in there just by looking at the side, and here I'm just going to drop these little pieces through. For this one, there isn't a crank, you just go ahead and grab the end of the release paper with the cover and just pull, and you can see I'm putting these tiny pieces in there, those little seashells, and it will grab hold of those and turn those into a sticker as well. I mentioned that I'm using the repositionable tape. The permanent tape. You can also get repositionable tape, and with some of the larger Xyron products, you can get some really cool effects as well, such as laminator sheets and magnetic sheets. So for the smaller one, it says on the front of that release that you should rub it down and then peel away the release, and then you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back in the panel that has the stamping. It's a little bit difficult to see on the screen right now, but in real life I can see those black outlines, so I know exactly where to put everything. Some of these pieces are pretty delicate, so I am being careful as I peel them up from the release paper, but you'll see that everything holds together really nicely, and there is a nice even coat of adhesive on the back of these pieces, so I can go ahead and puzzle piece them down exactly where they go. I love to do a paper piecing technique. It's such an easy way to add some interesting colouring, especially if you use a design. Obviously I've gone for watercolour patterned paper because I felt like that fit in really nicely with the under the sea and the mermaid. However, you could use like gingham plaids, you could use small icons. Really, the sky's the limit. I really enjoy paper piecing to add that interesting colouring to an image, and I think it's particularly nice on clothing as well. So if you can do like a jumper or a skirt or an outfit, I think it looks really nice. So I'm just being careful with the tail, especially where it gets really, really thin down where the tail meets the fins, but you'll notice that everything held together really nicely and sticks down perfectly, and that mermaid is kind of coming to life, I guess. So here I have the little blue seashells. I'm going to go ahead and stick those down, and then I also stamped the crown, which I think is my favourite part of this stamp set. And I'll stick that down, and it was at this point I realised that I hadn't finished off the fins. So I went and stamped the fins again, but this time just cut out the inside pieces and ran those through my small sticker machine. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick those down over the top of those gaps in the fins just to really finish off the design. So now I need to turn this panel into a card. So I'm going to need a card base and a sentiment. To add the sentiment, I had a look through my stash and I found this particular sentiment which I thought worked wonderfully, which is "Let's Celebrate." I actually went ahead and cut this stamp. It was in one straight piece, but I decided the design looked a little better with the "Let's" on top of the "Celebrate." So I went ahead and just cut right through the center of that stamp, which is totally fine to do as long as you're not cutting any of the areas that actually stamp down. You'll find that this doesn't harm your stamps at all. So I actually needed to change out the refill in my creator sticker. So I went ahead and got the refill, and I thought I would film this process to show you just how easy it is. So I grabbed the refill out of the box, removed the plastic packaging, and that is the hard work done. It is so simple. You just go ahead and drop the refill into your machine. It will only fit in one direction, and then just go ahead and close the lid and it is good to go. So I'm going to run this whole panel through. Again, this is a permanent adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and crank that through. Because I just replaced the refill, it resisted me ever so slightly just when it started, but you'll see how smooth it was just after I got this going. Then I'll go ahead and peel this panel off the backing and stick it down onto the card base. I made the card base from a US letter size piece of cardstock that I trimmed down to be 9 1/4 by 4 inches. So to finish this off and add just a little extra decorative element, I'm going to grab these peel off stickers and stick one at the top and one at the bottom, and I decided to use this scallop design or this sway design of the peel offs because I felt it complemented the wave pattern in the background. If you're interested in finding out more about the Xyron products that I've used in today's video, then do check out the description box where I'll have some more information as well as some links. Again, as a reminder, the products that I have used are the Xyron Creator Sticker and the Xyron 1.5 inch sticker maker. I'll have some information below about the whole range of products that they provide, and I do hope you'll check them out. They are so very simple to use, and as I say, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you definitely will have seen me use them, in particular when I'm adhering vellum to a card, because it is just wonderful to be able to hide the adhesive. Okay, so that is today's card finished. Thank you so much for sticking with me until the end of this video. If you are new here, then let me know in the comments section. Feel free to say hello, and I would love to have you subscribe to this channel if you are not already. On screen right now are a couple more videos that I think you might enjoy. If you haven't already seen them, you can go ahead and click on the thumbnails to be taken straight through to those videos. But that is all from me today. I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.